Court rules that coup suspects ACP Agojo could interfere with investigations as it denies him bail.
And in business, Association of Ghana Industries pushed for imposition of tariffs on some selected imports to help protect the sector.
And later in sports, we'll hear from Black Star skipper Andre Dediayu after Ghana beat Sao Tome and Principe to go top of Group C of the AFCON 2021 qualifiers.
And in a few minutes, we premiere the latest Joy News documentary, Just One, which highlights the plight of childless women. We'll hear the intriguing story of a married man who had 3 children out of wedlock, only to realize he was infertile.
It was proven he had a problem. But here is the case. His family blames me for our childlessness. When we got home, he apologized for all I had gone through. Remember, I had had 3 surgeries already.
That's coming up here on Newsnight. Please join us with your thoughts and comments via WhatsApp on 0244 340 437. I am Emefa Apo.
And my name is Evans Mensah.
And Newsnight is brought to you by Puma Card from Puma Energy. Cash-free convenience. Please stay with us for the details.
Well, John Hughes is learning some NDC MPs may be ready to break ranks with the party on its directive for them not to support a yes vote in the upcoming referendum that may allow multi-party participation in the local assembly elections. Well, we have more for you on this shortly, but government quest to make election of MMDCEs elected on party lines. There's some stateful position to that from all quarters, which could even affect passage of the bill before Parliament, which is seeking to take away the president's power to nominate the MMDCs.
Now tonight, the NDC minority is clear. There will be serious sanctions for members who go contrary to the party's directive. But first, as the yes and no vote proposal continue to divide the nation, the Institute of Local Government Studies says a whopping 75% of electoral turnout are likely to vote yes, according to the latest scientific polls by the Institute. My colleague Elton Brobe joins me in studio with more on this. So Elton, briefly tell us about the findings of this survey.
So, they spoke to 6,500 respondents from the 16 regions. And according to them, if you take a closer look at the key findings, per region, the 16 regions, the Savannah region recorded the place with the highest number of people who say that they are expecting the referendum to take place at 96%. The Greater Accra region recorded the lowest with 50%. Now, there's also expected voter participation in political party strongholds. Now, interestingly, the NDC strongholds recorded 72% of expected voter participation in political parties. The MPP recorded 66%. Now, if you go to expected voter participation by sex, as usual, the male had 72%, followed by the female 60%. Now, voter preference for a yes or no vote. The yes recorded 75%, undecided 13%, and no 12%. Now, everybody, there's an interesting development here. Political party strongholds preference for a yes or no vote. Now, if you take the NDC stronghold recorded a yes acceptance of 73%, followed by no 12% and no response 13%. The MPP stronghold recorded a 76% yes, 12% no, and another 12% no response. And then MPP NDC swing areas recorded a yes vote of 71%, followed by 16% no, and no response 13%. According to the survey, voter awareness of the referendum currently stands at 66%, 4 weeks to the election day, and according to them, it's quite commendable. And they think that the National Commission for Civic Education should intensify their education, but also made reference to the fact that this particular survey was done before the NDC held its news conference last week to say that they will not be supporting a yes vote, but rather encouraging their members to vote no, and also the latest statement by the National House of Chiefs. So this survey was done before these developments took place. But for now, this is the
The
outcome.
important question to ask those who did the survey, and we'll be speaking to them shortly, is what people were saying yes to in their questions. Did they understand that they were saying yes to whether or not they're allowing parties to be involved in local assembly elections? Is that what they understood it to be when they said yes? We'll come to that shortly. But let's move on to the debate, which is further dividing a parliament, the minority and majority fronts there. There are two separate things that may happen between now and December 17. The first one is what parliament can by themselves do, which is amending the constitution to take the president's power to nominate the MMDCEs. And of course, we've seen the party's NDC's position on the December 7 referendum as well. And the party's position is clear that they are for no. Well, Harun Edrisu, who previously had been very vocal, MFA, in advocating the election of MMDCEs on partisan lines, says, well, I mean, that position has changed because of the party's position now.
Okay.
And he, as the minority leader, is whipping every single member of the minority in parliament in line to respect the party's position. Listen to me. He's speaking on the Super Morning Show this morning.
Elective principle has the support of the NDC as a party, but that principle should be on non-partisan basis. That the way Article 55(3) has been couched for purpose of the constitutional amendment, given that the president himself has made public comments about it, the electoral commission is making public comments about it of our country.
When this came to Parliament on the 29th of June, what was your position at the time?
My position, guided by the Constitutional Review Committee report and the President Mills white paper, was that it was possible on partisan basis, except that the amendment that was proposed by the Nana Addo administration was not comprehensive.
So you agreed
and
that
you
agreed that political parties...
Read me comprehensively. I said I had raised major constitutional issues that to amend only Article 2431 was not sufficient. So there's a new party position. I understand that some members of parliament are not holding the line, and they will be dealt with in accordance with party discipline and parliamentary discipline.
When you say you have issued a free line to your members, if they don't toe the party line, what happens to them?
The parliamentary organ or the minority caucus is just an organ of the party. The party has taken a definite political position guided by its flag bearer, President John Dramani Mahama, national chairman and his advisor on local government, Professor Kwame Nkrumah. We have extensively discussed the matter, and we think that there is merit, that the referendum question to Article 55(3) is flawed, and therefore we are unable to support it.
Are you an organ of the party or representative of the people?
Both.
Speaking on non-insurance clauses, Mr. Edrisu, if 2431 comes up for amendment in Parliament, how would you amend it?
We are covered under Article 291 of the Constitution. It's not for which the New Patriotic Party has a number to take a decision without our cooperation or support.
What do you call it?
And we exercise it in the best national interest. We do not think that a partisan elected MNDCs is the best for our country. That runs contrary to the initial position.
So 243 is about election of
MMDC. But they have confused the Ghanaian public.
You are rather confused the Ghanaian public.
My word is my honor. I said that 2431 is inadequate, is not comprehensive enough. If it was to be supported by all the other references, consulting, and the consultation may result in us accepting a common position or disagreeing.
So that is a very interesting position, because on that amendment of taking the president's power away for election of MMDCs, previously, if you read the parliamentary Hansard when this came up, their position was clear that they're in favor of that.
Okay.
But now he says they are not as certain as before, and that it depends on negotiations and talks going forward. And so that in itself also it's a bit uncertain what will happen if it comes, because the majority can't do it alone. They need 2/3. They definitely need the majority side as well, and the minority side as well.
But on the same program too, the Deputy Local Government Minister and the Rural Development Minister, Obi Amwa, on the Super Morning Show, also accused the minority of acting in bad faith.
We've had several meetings as to the way forward. even at a committee level, some of these issues were raised. But what we said was that let the people of Ghana know that we are committed to getting MMDCs elected. After the referendum, there are several issues that can come up. And we on our own should not pretend that we have all the knowledge. We should bring everybody on board. So that if we think that even for the MMDC, that his term of office should not be only 2 consecutive terms, but he should run as MP. We alone cannot impose it on all of us. All of us will sit down, debate, and look at the issues. That is why they have come on board so well. At one point, the minority team was led by the second deputy speaker for us to see the way forward. And all along, they gave us the impression that they were so interested in getting MMDCs elected on partisan basis that it should even take precedence over the 2431. Let me read what my good friend, the minority leader, said in Parliament, 29th July 2019. And I quote, "The people may decide otherwise, and you cannot determine it. So the support of those of us on this side of the House is conditional to the fact that DC should be elected, but they should be elected on partisan lines. That is the principle we will support and work with." So what they told us was that
what you have with you is the Hansa.
Yes, the Hansa of the 9th July. I can, let's you have it. You can read. We were worried. What we said was that let's do the 2431 first. Let's let the whole world know that that power has been taken away from the president. And then when we go to referendum, we tell the people at the referendum that the power has been taken away, but parties should be involved in electing such persons and assembly members. So parties get on board, and then let's push for the yes.
And that is Obi Amwa, a Deputy Local Government Minister. Let's speak to a Member of Parliament, NDC Member of Parliament for Kumbungu, Mr. Ras Mubarak. He's in the House. And of course, one of those who obviously will be debating the subject when it comes up. Mr. Mubarak, where do you stand on the no or yes question?
Thank you very much indeed, Evans. Good evening to listeners. And let me begin by expressing my disappointment with the national chairman of the MPP for the tone, the incendiary language, the name calling. We are at a time in a country's history where cool heads are required, where dialogue, where consensus is required in getting us, bring about this very important amendment to the Constitution. And I sincerely believe that proponents of the yes vote should reach out, to persons who are unconvinced about the position that they are espousing. So in that regard, I'm utterly disappointed. I was hoping that, they would pipe down and be more conciliatory, instead of the name calling, But having said that, I am unconvinced about the reason to take a no vote. I think the argument for the no vote is weak. I think it's unconvincing, and I think it's very convenient as far as I'm concerned. And for that reason, I am in support of a yes vote, and I'll be canvassing for a yes vote. Let me also say that this is at the back of some consultation with opinion leaders and assembly members, within my constituency, and the suggestion that more politics at the local level will bring our democracy down is completely weak, to say the least.
But are you aware that this position...
And MFI, if I may add,
okay,
in the national interest and in good conscience, I cannot support any position.
But I was asking if you're aware that this position that you've just taken goes expressly against your party's position, and there are sanctions for it. Aren't you aware of that?
The party has issued a trail line whip. The the party expect all of its members to toe the line. But as I've indicated, I am unconvinced about the reason for which we should vote no. I'm not only unconvinced, I think the argument for a no vote is a very weak one and rather convenient. And I am fully aware of the three lines that issued by the party. I mean, there comes a time in a political career when one has to look at the national interest and put the national interest above any other thing. And sincerely, a yes vote, I think, in my humble opinion, even though I respect the party's decision, a yes vote would be in the interest of the nation.
And you're ready, I suppose, to face the consequences of this decision that you're taking.
Well, it's a decision that I completely believe in. It's a decision that I am hoping that I would get a superior argument. But as far as I'm concerned, I haven't heard any superior argument for a no vote. And for which reason, as I've said, in the national interest and in good conscience, I cannot, and I cannot support a no vote.
Mm. Are you alone in this, or there are others who can come forward like you've done?
Am I?
Are you alone in this position that you've taken in Parliament, I should ask? Are you alone, or there are others who can come forward like you've done?
Well, I'm not sure about others who may want to come forward. We are individual politicians elected on the ticket of our party by the people we represent. And if after sampling views from my area, I am unconvinced about the position, I think it is important to espouse and to champion the views of the people I represent.
But let me ask you, though, you've talked about the position that your party is taking. You've said that it is unconvincing and just convenient. Why do you say so?
Well, why are we advocating for a no vote? The argument, as I have heard, one of them, is the fact that there's a lot of skullduggery, there's a lot of bitterness, there's a lot of corruption at the national level, and for which reason we shouldn't be introducing partisanship at the local level. If there's a problem fundamentally with our politics, we've got to man up and fix it instead of playing the ostrich. There's hardly any assemblyman in this country today, MFA, who I'm sorry, my kids are all over me. There's hardly any assemblyman. There's hardly any assemblyman or woman in the country who isn't an assemblyman or woman by virtue of one supporter or the other from a political party in the country. We would be playing the ostrich if we pretend, that this isn't happening. And you see, that is exactly what is wrong with our politics. What we need more in our politics is honesty, instead of pretense, and I'm unapologetic about the position that I so strongly believe in.
We are grateful for your time. Let me leave you to take care of the children. That's Ras Mubarak, MP for Kumbungu, and you've heard this position. He's going contrary to the party position.
Well, not everybody is breaking ranks. Many, as we found in Parliament, are towing the party lines. Either you are MPP and so you are going for an emphatic yes, or you are NDC and going for a no. Let's see some of the MPs we spoke to on the floor.
This is not new. We started discussion way back in the 2000s. In the MPP manifesto in the 2000 elections, it was stated there. And it was one of the things President before admitted we could not implement. At that time, they were used against that. We mentioned that we do now, we didn't implement that. And this time, we introduced it, falling out of the Constitutional Review Committee's report. So anybody who says that we are not ready for it, it is that person's own mindset. But Ghana is ready for.
No, they think that they're going to divide the country, even at the local level. Already here in Parliament, there's sharp division.
I find that very strange. What is sharp division? What we do here in Parliament is called alternative views. That is all multi-party democracy is about. Giving the electorate alternative views of every situation so that the electorate will have a choice. It is what we do here. Let me say frankly, there is no institution, political institution, where there is cooperation more than Parliament. There's nothing that one party does all the time, every committee. So let's not pretend that multipartism is not. We are only not naming it.
We're going on yes vote. Yes vote because we want democracy to prevail and the principles of democracy should prevail.
My view is the same as the party's view. I mean, we believe we don't have a problem really with the election if we want to just do election, but to literally go full partisanship, we think it's kind of dangerous because already even at the national level, there are so many concerns as to this extreme, should I call it partisanship, which is really dividing the country right through the middle. This kind of check the incident of what's going on in the councils,
The National Assembly.
Just nothing but
No, you think that you politicians have divided the National Assembly?
It's not about us politicians.
But it appears that some chiefs are belonging to the NPP, some also belong to the NDC.
But you haven't gone far. Even you, the media. A lot of you are very polarized as well. It is difficult to be able to find people who are right down in the middle, who are ready to do just very impartial, professional work deals. Because the partisanship has become so extreme, people find it difficult to literally take the partisanship outside of the real job. You need to be careful. You should appreciate already.
The mere fact that government tried to deceive the people. You have the President of the Republic on public occasions, public functions, states that the referendum is about the election of DCs when that is not what it is. It's either the President was engaged in deception or he's ignorant about what the referendum is. And I don't think the President is ignorant.
So you had Joe Osei Owusu, Abubakar Sadiq, both of them NPP members of Parliament. Joe Osei obviously is the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament, and we also Fifi Kwete and Sam George also from the NDC side. Still ahead here on Newsnight.
Stop illegal investigations and apologize to me. Auditor General Daniel Domelovu tells Yoko as he questions its legal authority, alleging there could be hidden or ill motives behind the action.
Any continued or further investigation by your office after the receipt of this letter will be fiercely contested, and my lawyers are already in the know and copied in this letter.
We have details after this break.
Your success, our passion.
Ma, please give me your phone. Let me make a quick call.
So you're still on that network that gives you fair data and talk time, when Vodafone has double the Red 1, Red 2, and Red 5 offers. For 5 cities, Shikra. You get 250 minutes to call all networks, 250 megabytes data, and more.
I'm moving to Vodafone today. Switch to Vodafone to enjoy double Intuswar on red bundles of 1, 2, and 5 cities. Enjoy double talk minutes to call all networks and double data to browse. Vodafone always gives you more. Dial star 200 hash to subscribe now. Terms and conditions apply.
The future is exciting. Ready?
Our mommy always wants us to be strong.
She wants us to have enough energy to start the day. Yay!
That's
That's why I give them the richer and creamier Cadbury Rich Choco every day.
And we love it! Yay!
Enjoy your deliciously rich and creamy rich chocolate made from the finest Ghanaian cocoa, milk, and sugar.
Yummy!
Rich Choco, made from the finest Ghanaian cocoa. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
The season of love, joy, and giving is here again. It is with the spirit of giving that your favorite mid-morning show, Cosmopolitan Mix, brings you Gift Mask to spice up the Christmas season. Well, the Cosmopolitan Mix is coming your way with Santa's sleigh and his sack. Here is how it works. Listen through the entire Cosmopolitan Mix, Monday to Friday from 10 a.m. to 12 midday. You'll hear an announcement of some gift items in our Gift Mask wish box. All you need to do will be to call into the show as soon as you hear a buzzer go off. Once you call, just make a wish for any of the items in the box and voila, it is yours for the taking. Alternatively, if you're driving around Joy FM, just stop by the studio where you spin the prize wheel to determine what you win. Call it an early Christmas. It is with the spirit of giving that your favorite mid-morning show, Cosmopolitan Mix, brings you Gift Mask.
Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell.
Hey, Bob Ray! Oh, Charlie, but why you vex like that? Charlie, I vex Rob. I bought a car with insurance for my friend Jay. You know he's relocating abroad, right? Some ugly church scratched my brand new second-hand car so bad. And you won't believe my insurance say I don't have insurance, so they won't pay. They lie back. But hold on, bro. What? You don't know say insurance no be transferable? Oh, how? You must be kidding, right? I am very serious. Motor insurance no be transferable. Insurance companies pay claims when it be genuine. You won't believe this. But on a daily basis, insurance companies pay an average of 1.6 million Ghana cedis claims on motor insurance alone, plus all other insurance claims paid too. Now multiply that by 365 days. Oh, Charlie, give me a second. Let me receive this phone call. Yeah, hello.
Thanks for staying with us here on Newsnight. Now, Nigerians are not afraid to return home if you don't want them doing business in Ghana. That's the response from Evaristus Chukudro Nwanko, Secretary General of Nigerian Traders Association of Ghana. Now, his response comes shortly after GUTA members issued a one-week ultimatum to drive out all foreign retailers from the Ghanaian market. We'll hear from him shortly, but first, yes, Matilda Vomagan's report looking at the concerns raised by GUTA.
The group in recent times has complained bitterly about government's failure to enforce the laws that bar foreign traders from engaging in retail businesses. GUTA explains this was why some of their members in Kumasi and other parts of the country locked up shops they believed are owned by foreigners engaged in retail business a few weeks ago. Government has already condemned the closures as unlawful, but GUTA is threatening to extend the exercise nationwide if government fails to take action within a week.
Not that we are going to open for them to remain in the market, but we are going to open for them to get rid of their goods and leave the market. We have given government 1 week to try as much as possible to enforce the act, so that within 1 week we expect all the foreigners in the retail trade to be out or to move out from those areas. We are going to embark on a nationwide action to make sure that we ourselves get rid of the foreigners in the retail market.
Some GUTA members are meanwhile accusing other Ghanaian traders of fronting for foreign retailers.
Those foreigners who don't come here by their own power. They doesn't know anybody in Ghana here. It's we black who invited them here. A foreigner cannot rent a shop in Seki here without a foreigner, without a citizen person. So we are the citizens. We are the cause of it.
So if they are taking bribes, we don't know. But no more bribe. If they take bribe, we will also put the law into our hands. So
are you going to be patient for that one?
We're going to be patient. We are Ghanaians. We have been patient for long. And we don't fight. Ghanaians, we don't fight. We have been patient for long. So our leaders are giving us 1 week. We are waiting for the results.
So what will happen next?
We are going to take action. If the government doesn't take action.
What kind of action?
The foreigners to go. The foreigners to go.
How are you going to compel them to move?
Yes, we will lock their shop. If you are going to lock their shop, we are going to do it. I will say, Nigeria for catchers, Ghana must go. Ghana must go, no. Yes, Nigeria must go.
GUTA has meanwhile criticized government's failure to resolve the standoff between Benin and Nigeria, which has left its members' goods stranded at the border, despite several assurances.
Members are stuck. behind the borders. And in fact, the worrying thing is that when we are having difficulty of our members going through, some of their traders are having a way of coming to Ghana to trade, and which is not fair.
You heard Matilda Vamagas report. We can now hear from Evariste Strukundu Nwanko, who is the Secretary General of the Nigerian Traders Association of Ghana, and they are asking government to speak out on the matter.
Yes, because the Guta press conference today have finally confirmed their nefarious activities they have been doing underground since they started this agitation in 2007. You know, they have been covering up by saying foreigners. Today, I think if watching what they are saying today, you now know that they are not referring as foreigners. Because if you go to Opera Square where they locked Nigerian shops, you see that the Indians, the Lebanese, their shops are open. You see one Chinese with 2 Ghanaians working for him, same as Nigerians who have some 3-4 Ghanaians working for him, but they are interested in sacking Nigeria. I don't know where this hatred is coming from, Guta. But today they have been exposed by themselves. We are not afraid to go back to Nigeria. I want to tell Guta that we Nigerians, we are not afraid to go back. But as they have come clean and clear, I want the government of Ghana to make their position clearly known. Of course, they have made down to ECOWAS that they are not sacking, they are not saying that Nigerian, because they are signatory to ECOWAS protocol. So we are waiting for government position.
All right. Well.
So that's the Evariste Strukundu Nwanko. He's the Secretary General of the Nigerian Traders Association of Ghana.
Evariste Strukundu Nwanko. Well, our brothers from Nigeria there. Let's do business now, and George Afe is joining us with the latest of the world. George.
And it's interesting we're talking about importation and all those things, and we understand that last year we spent about 80 million Ghana cedis in importing toothpicks into the country.
Yeah. What else do you have in the headlines, George?
Well, coming up in business, Association of Ghana Industries pushes for imposition of tariffs on some selected imports to help protect the sector. And PricewaterhouseCoopers describes the 2020 budget as business friendly. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business, Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials. And First National Bank. We are the bank that understands your business. First National Bank. How can we help you?
So everyone says I'm a Kosia film, but it's not like I'm nosy or go out to find out the latest film. It's just that I get 50 megabytes of data free after paying for only the first minute of every call. And so I just keep discovering stuff minute after minute. That's how come I was minding my business, scrolling through my timeline, and I found out Coco has a new baby. Oh, and last week I learned Ken won the lottery. You see, Ken is my brother's friend. So hello, look who's about to roll with the rich and famous.
Enjoy even more value with MTN Free After One. You only pay for the first minute of your call on MTN Free After One, and the rest is free. Plus, you enjoy free 50 megabytes worth of data to browse your favorite sites. Compare where, compare there. So dial *315# to sign up. We day for you everywhere you go. Terms and conditions apply.
Mr. Bar has big dreams for his business, Bar & Co. Limited, and his family, making them a reality man to long drives and queues. He's lost precious time struggling to pay his suppliers in China, Turkey, India, and other parts of the world. With the First National Bank global payment via our online banking enterprise, he now pays for all that in the convenience of his home or office, giving him time to focus on family and growing his business. Use our online banking enterprise to access Forex when you need it. It takes a bank that does more to help your family. So who's helping yours? First National Bank. How can we help you?
We give you nothing but the best. We stay above the rest. More quality, more affordability. Kingdom Books and Stationery. Everybody's going to the one and only shop. Where customer satisfaction is a guarantee. Kingdom Books and Stationery.
Oh yes, with our 30 days credit facility with no interest charge.
free delivery services, and our free consultation on setting up your office, Kingdom Books and Stationery is unmatched in our delivery of quality and affordable office essentials, equipment, and furniture.
Experience world-class customer service in all our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Cape Coast, and Takoradi.
Call us on 0302-764-101
or visit our website at www.kingdomgh.com.
Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all office essentials and stationery. Terms and conditions apply.
On Tuesday, 17 December 2019, the Electoral Commission will conduct the District Assembly elections, Unit Committee elections, and referendum from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. It is important that we all get involved to ensure that people who can bring development to our areas are elected. It is your right as a voter to exercise your franchise by voting for a candidate of your choice. There will be 2 elections and a referendum. The first ballot paper that will be issued to the voter is the ballot for the referendum. Vote yellow for yes or brown for no. Whether you agree that political parties must be allowed to participate in the local government elections. The second ballot paper is the ballot paper for the District Assembly elections, and you must vote for only 1 candidate. And the third ballot paper is the Unit Committee election, and you must vote for only 5 candidates. It is an offense for a person who is not a registered voter to vote or to attempt to vote in the name of another person, whether dead or alive. Remember, the date for the District Assembly elections, Unit Committee elections, and referendum is Tuesday, 17th December 2019 from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Your vote is your power.
Joy 99.7 FM.
Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, the Association of Ghana Industries is making a strong case for tariffs on some selected imports to help protect the sector. Industries over the past years have struggled to stay on top because of cheap imports and counterfeiting of their goods, contributing to a panel discussion of the PricewaterhouseCoopers Post-Budget Forum. President of the association, Dr. Yadijemfi, says government must act now to ensure that the sector is protected.
Those products that we have enough capacity, can we get tariff against those imports so that the government can get the revenue from those areas rather than us? It was not done. Because there's a lot of products that are coming in. Last year we brought in 18 million toothpick. Yes. There are products that we are even can make them locally, but we are not getting the support of the government. So what we are saying is that those imports must attract higher tariffs. All the war between US and China is about that. If we can do that, we will help our own people. Barriers to entry. The border is closed, but it's ECOWAS protocol. It shouldn't be done, but they've done it. So why can't we have tariffs around our own place to protect our markets?
Dr. Yadijemfi is president of the Association of Ghana Industries, contributing to a panel discussion the PricewaterhouseCoopers Post-Budget Forum. A related development senior country partner at PricewaterhouseCoopers, Mr. Shagbo, has described the 2020 budget as business-friendly. Let's hear his thoughts.
It's a continuation of the initiatives that were started by this government in 2017. And as you know, businesses like predictability, businesses like stability. So from that point of view, I think businesses find the budget to be friendly. On the other hand, I think there was some expectation from businesses that the measures that we've been discussing as a country towards broadening the tax base, we will begin to see some of those initiatives yielding fruit so that the tax burden on the few can be lessened in favor of broadening the net. So for example, the decision to extend the National Fiscal Stabilization Levy for another 5 years came as a surprise because it was due to have outlived its usefulness by the end of 2019.
Mr. Shagbo is a senior country partner at accounting firm PricewaterhouseCoopers. Now, Chief Executive of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Yofi Grant, has disclosed that the ailing textiles industry should receive some support in terms of investment. Now, this is because some giants in the global textile space, including H&M, would be in the country to explore some investment opportunities. So Grant has been speaking to my colleague Novana Kwaheford in Dubai.
And they're going to look at where it's most competitive and comparatively comfortable.
Have you convinced them enough to stay with us?
Well, I think Ghana has an edge, a significant edge, but it also depends on what terms of agreement we can come. But I believe that Ghana will be the right place for them to come. I think logistically we are very well positioned.
Is there a plan, because we already have ATL, GTP, and all those people who seem to be struggling?
Any country a businessman goes, they want to look at what is happening at the domestic sector, and that's it. And already we've seen talks going on partnerships. But where the partnership is not possible, then of course, I mean, you have to look at another arrangement.
Yofi Grant is Chief Executive of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, speaking to my colleague, Noban Akoyeford, in Dubai. Now, some steel factory workers in the Free Zones Enclave in Tema have been protesting against what they describe as smoke emissions in that area. The workers, who are all clad in red, are calling for government to fast-track the interventions to clamp down on activities of some steel factories that are flouting the regulations of the Environmental Protection Agency. Charles Aite was there for Joy Business and has the rest of the story.
Steel factory workers at the Free Zones Enclave are frustrated over the emission of smoke from two main steel factories, Rada Steel and United Steel. With placards reading "Toxic emissions is unacceptable, we are dying slowly," the factory workers complained their lives have been endangered by these emissions.
It feel difficult to even breathe inside because of the smoke. So sometimes we find it difficult even coming to work.
Now I was even told by the doctor that if that should be the case, I should stop the work because I can't continue jeopardizing my health because of the smoke.
For the past 2 weeks ago, I have been suffering from coughing because of this smoke. I'm dying.
The smoke emissions have so far caused the shutdown of one steel factory. Felix is a supervisor at M&D Metals, another factory at the receiving end of these emissions.
We have done all we are supposed to do. We have reported this to management, reported it to necessary authorities that should work or should help this thing be resolved. But up to now, we are still waiting and we are still fighting. So today we are bringing this agitation because our message that we sent across is still not being heard.
Ghana ranked 124 in the 2018 Environmental Protection Index, which ranks 180 countries on environmental health and ecosystem vitality. And for these steel factory workers, now is the time for authorities to act.
The International Federation of Air Traffic Safety Electronic Association is pushing for the licenses of air traffic safety electronic personnel to help maintain high passenger numbers in Africa. Director of the International Federation of Air Traffic Safety Electronics, Engineer Frank Appiagyei, made the call at a meeting in Accra for air traffic safety personnel.
All electronics personnel in Ghana within the aviation industry operates electronics equipment, aviation systems with a license. But you see, when you have an aircraft that is flying, it flies from one destination to another destination. So it means that Ghana itself, or Ghana alone, having its assets or electronics personnel with a license is not enough. So the importance of it is that we need all African countries, especially even across the world, to be able to operate with license.
Engineer Frank Appiagyei is Director for International Federation of Air Traffic Safety Electronics Association. And that's all for business on Newsnight.
Joe, thank you very much.
So if you nullify the contract, it can be paid for, isn't it?
Yes.
If you cancel the whole process, it can be paid for. Is that not it?
No, it can't.
So if you say pay for it, it means that you have accepted it. So any infraction therein have been ratified from my point of view by PPA. So Yoko should go to PPA and find out why did they ratify it. I don't see why they are on the back of my staff. For the past 2 or 3 weeks, they've invited my deputies and several officers. I think it's one of the intimidating principles or approaches being used. But then I want to assure them that they can come and jail me. We will not stop doing what we are doing. I've said it time and again that I don't fear any attack on my office.
Auditor General Daniel Domelevo on the Super Morning Show a couple of weeks ago, alluding his outfit is being targeted. Today, he's challenging the authority of the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, in the investigation of procurement breaches. Now, a private citizen petitioned EOCO accusing the Auditor General Daniel Domelevo, together with a deputy in charge of finance and administration, Mrs. Roberta Isiama Pia, and the Audit Service Board of circumventing the Procurement Law Act 663 in the purchase of vehicles worth almost 6.2 million Ghana cedis.
Well, Mr. Domelevo in a letter has asked the EOCO to immediately stop the investigation he describes as illegal and also render an unqualified apology to him as well as his staff within the next 5 days. Listen to Joy News editor Fifi Kumsin with a letter.
You would recall that for close to 4 weeks now,
your office has been inviting officers from the Ghana Audit Service, including myself, on the premise of investigating alleged procurement breaches in respect of some vehicles procured by the Ghana Audit Service in 2018 for the effective conduct and delivery of audit activities. I was personally invited by a letter dated November 7, 2019, which invitation I honored out of respect for your office on 14th November 2019, only to be cautioned by your officers and asked for a caution statement, which I gave. I had to be granted bail, thanks to my driver, before I was allowed to leave your premises. A careful reading of your enabling law, the Economic and Organized Crime Act 2010, Act 804, as amended by the Office of the Special Prosecutor Act 2017, Act 959, and from discussions with my lawyers, I am of the firm belief that your office does not have the mandate to investigate any breaches under the Public Procurement Act. In fact, I am advised that the relevant provision in Act 959, which amended Act 804, is Section 80, and therein, your office's mandate to investigate corruption and corruption-related offenses, which has been defined to include procurement breaches, has been taken away. Thus, this power your office purports to exercise now has been effectively taken away by the amendment contained in Section 79 of Act 959. This clearly means that your office does not have the jurisdiction to investigate corruption-related offenses, which has been defined in Act 959 to include breaches of the Public Procurement Act. It is quite bizarre and unfathomable why your office would purport to be investigating procurement breaches when, and in fact, it does not have any legal authority to do so unless there is any hidden or ill motives behind your actions. Whereas staff of the Ghana Audit Service and I are ready to submit ourselves to investigation by the appropriate authorities, I'm advised that you have no basis investigating or continuing any further investigations into any such alleged procurement breach, as same is not part of the legal mandate of your office. I am by this letter asking you and your office to immediately stop the illegal and unlawful investigation of the alleged procurement breach and render an unqualified apology to me and staff of the Ghana Audit Service within 5 working days from the date of receiving this letter, unless and until your office is able to show clearly where your mandate and jurisdiction to investigate any procurement breaches is coming from. Any continued or further investigation by your office after the receipt of this letter will be fiercely contested, and my lawyers are already in the know and copied in this letter. Yours faithfully, Daniel Yao Domelevo, Auditor General of Ghana.
Now, that's the full letter as it was written to Iyoko from Daniel Domelevo, dated today. But let's get some law education on this whole matter. We've been joined on the phone by lawyer Opoku Agyeman. We are grateful for your time here on Newsnight. First off, let me ask, does Iyoko have the mandate to investigate procurement breaches?
Well, thank you very much. First and foremost, I think that Iyoko is an appendage of the Attorney General. The Attorney General's office sees with investigations and commencement of prosecution of all criminal offences in Ghana. And I believe that when we talk of criminal offences, corruption or its related corruption and all related offences can be investigated by appendages of the Attorney General for commencement of any prosecution. Secondly, I have listened carefully to what was read. In fact, I have a copy of the letter. I've read it thoroughly. And the thing that I've realized that, yes, Mr. Domelevo said he has made himself available out of respect to an office. That is good. It's good that he has shown respect to that office and has offered himself to be cautioned and then later wrote this one. I think what is contained in this letter is, as he said, the opinion of his lawyers. And by my training, I know that the opinion of his lawyers is not the opinion of the court. And therefore, if you want to know the interpretation of any provision as to whether we have internal or external consistency with our legal system vis-a-vis any other law and that of Yoko, then the appropriate forum for me is not to write pieces, but to go to court, seek the appropriate redress, because it's only the court that will determine whether Yoko is exercising a proper or valid mandate. But so if that happens, I'll be very happy that he goes to court. But let me say, there are two things involved in this matter, as you said, and you read to me. There's a procurement breach that is being investigated. That is one. That is a substantive matter. And there is a capacity issue or jurisdiction issue, which is a procedural matter, which must be looked at. And I'm happy that maybe with this, people will interrogate the substance. But if I have the option, maybe the person who submitted the complaint to Yoko, my advice to that person that person should submit a petition under Article 146 in addition to going to Yoko for other things to be considered. After all, A.B. Ajay, Mr. A.B. Ajay, I think he was with PPA, right? It is before us, right? It's before Yoko, and it's before the Special Prosecutor's Office.
Permit me, Lawyer Opoku-Agyeman, to interrupt rudely. You talked about this article and asking for other things. What specifically should the person be asking for? Is it a removal? What exactly is it?
Of course. You see, at the moment, Mr. Dumelowo is not answering the question on the substantive matter. And the substantive matter, if indeed there has been a procurement breach, then my view is that procurement breach can lead to an impeachment and its removal. And I doubt if that petition is submitted to the President under Article 146, Mr. Dumelowo will go ahead with this, what he has written to the Office of the President, that even the President cannot constitute, cannot submit it to the Chief Justice for any investigation to be conducted. That's why I'm saying that maybe what the person who submitted it, in order to have, we have to resolve this matter without any legal gymnastics. My view is that maybe whilst Yoko is pursuing, as is being done to Mr. A.B. Ajay, where Sraj is also doing the same, and Office of the Special Prosecutor is doing the same. So the law has every entitlement to be aggrieved with how investigation is being conducted. So it's better, what he has done is perfect. But what I'm saying is that his opinion of his lawyers, which is not sacrosanct, and this is not the legal binding anyone. And so he should go to court, challenge the act of, I believe he says his lawyers are already in the known, and that is good, so that we resolve this matter without going through any legal gymnastics. The substance of the matter is that whether or not there has been a procurement breach, and if that is so, whether or not PPA has come out with a finding that is adverse, and whether or not that amounts to an offense which is impeachable or even to be prosecuted. I believe that we should resolve it that way.
It's a matter we'll interrogate further later. We are grateful for your time. That's Lawyer Opoku-Agyeman. Let's do sports now. Enhancement Sando is in the studio.
And Evans. How you doing?
You're doing well. What do you have in the headlines, Hans?
Well, so the Black Stars have moved to the top of Group C of the AFCON 2021 qualifiers after beating Sao Tome and Principe 1-0 thanks to a Jordan Ayew penalty. The Black Stars have 6 points, 3 more than South Africa and Sudan, who lie second and third respectively. Skipper Andre Dede Ayew expressed satisfaction at the performance of the team in the 2 games against South Africa and Sao Tome and Principe.
Well, I'm very happy. I want to congratulate the boys for this today. Camp has been brilliant. Discipline has been perfect. Every plan that we had, we executed it very well. We have 6 points, and no team in our group did that in this international week, so that proves that we did something good. It's just the beginning. We have 6 points, but we need to continue like this, but I'm very happy, and we hope that we continue like that.
You know, boys, rest so well. What do you say about it?
I'm very happy for them. This is all about wearing the national colors. It was their dream since they were young. They have a lot of years ahead of them. And they have proved that Ghanaians can rely on them. Now we need to keep on moving forward.
Andre Dida is the skipper of the Black Stars. That's your sport.
Thank you very much, Hans Spencer Ando.
Hans, grateful. Now, government has tonight been touting its performance in various sectors of the economy. Now, during the budget debate in Parliament, Information Minister and MP for Ofuasa Yerebi Kojo Opono Nkrumah said the record of the Akufo-Addo government is unparalleled in these sectors. In his argument to back his claim, he presented growth figures from education, agriculture, and industry, which has grown from 4.6 to in 2016 to 8.8% now. For him, government intervention, including the one district, one factory, must be credited for this growth.
But overall, industry was recording a growth of 4.3% when the NDC was exiting. Today, we are happy to remind the people of Ghana that industry is reporting 8.8% growth. That 8.8% growth includes interventions given in manufacturing. Mr. Speaker, when we rolled out the one district, one factory program, there was again a lot of mocking. But that flagship program, in addition to the stimulus package that was provided, is beginning to bear fruit. I hold in my hands here a product known as Eco Juice from the Ekumfi factory setup to be rolled out on the market. Another project of the Akufo-Addo administration in the central region, which was subjected to so much ridicule. But today, that flagship program is also beginning to bear fruit.
Let's go to the central region. Kojo Nyako is on the line with us. Kojo, this is a factory that the president used to launch the one district, one factory. You've been there recently. Is it true that they've begun producing fruit juice, and when are they going full scale?
Well, the factory itself is located at Ekumfi Nanabin, and the physical appearance or the structural part of the factory is complete. I went there. I saw that they have started designing the area. When I entered inside, I saw that they had finished arranging or installing all their machines, and then it was left with the final test run, and that one was what we saw, the production of a calipo-like size fruit juice. And they said that annually, they are going to produce between 150 million to 300 million pieces of that kind of drink. They are done with all of that, and in 20 days, they will be ready for the market.
Kojo, thank you very much.
Now, a married man had a side chick. You know what a side chick is, right? I mean, he had a secret
I know the side
girlfriend.
guy.
Oh, okay. Outside his marriage, and she gave birth to 3 children for him because his marriage had not produced a child after many years. He, however, discovered later that he was incapable of making a woman pregnant. So where did the 3 children come from? There's more in this Hotline documentary, Just One, by Sir Kwame Boateng.
Let's first meet 49-year-old Abayebwa, though not her real name. She does not have children. She has been married for 20 years.
I have gone to pastors, herbalists, and other places in my quest to have a child. I have given several offerings towards this. One pastor, at a point, told me he could impregnate me. I am lucky I didn't allow him.
Abba is more than 35 years. Fertility specialist Dr. Rudolph Kantu Madagiba explains that at this age, the chances for women to conceive begin to reduce because there may not be enough eggs to facilitate conception.
By the time of the first menstruation, which is now about 11, 12, 13 years in Ghana, the eggs have reduced from 2 million at birth to about 500,000. So, yes, that means that 3/4 of the eggs are gone. By the age of 35, there's a critical disruption.
And that's it for News Night tonight. You want to catch the full documentary, is premiering on television at 8:30 on the Joy News channel. Also tonight,
PM Express at 9 p.m. with you, and we have Dr. H. Kwesi Prempeh,
who's executive director of the CDD, and also a former Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayine.
And what are we talking about?
Talking about the referendum, the politics, and the reality. You know, H. Kwesi Prempeh has written recently about this quite extensively. First time he's going to be engaging publicly on it. Very interesting debate. 2 highly educated legal professionals talking about such a contentious
So
matter.
we'll be live on the Joy News channel at 9 p.m. Also on our YouTube channel on myjoyonline.com. You want to catch that. But in the meantime, that's my opinion with Nanan Sakwa is coming up next. He's thinking aloud from Edumasa, the budget on his mind.